Hey everyone, my name's Al Sweet and I'll be leading the Alpine Touring group for Rock and Ice, and tonight I just want to quickly talk you through some kit required for Alpine Touring. So first off, we're going to need a set of skis. Alpine Touring skis differ slightly from resort skis in the fact that they are generally lighter and they're also a little bit more softer better for variable conditions. They're not as stiff as a resort ski. You're looking for something generally around about the 90 underfoot, but if you're going to go hardcore off-piste somewhere like Kashmir, you're going to be wanting to sort of 120 underfoot, almost like a snowboard under your foot. In terms of length, ideally you want something between sort of chin and nose, but again, the more surface area you have, the more you're going to float on powder. So if you're comfortable going slightly longer, then the longer the ski will give you more surface area to float on the powder. So I'm 177 centimeters and these are 176, so almost as tall as me. You could also go, if you're not going to go pure backcountry, but you're going to do more kind of lift served off-piste in somewhere like Europe or New Zealand, then you can go for something a bit more hybrid. This is a Scott Mission, so I think it's about 85 underfoot as opposed to the 98 underfoot there. A bit more forgiving for on-piste, but you can still have a little bit of fun off-piste if you want to do that sort of thing. I think one of the key themes in this video you're going to find is that it's all about compromise. So if you were a millionaire, you would have probably 3 or 4 different sets of skis, different setups. But as most of us aren't, it's a compromise between weight and the skiability. The lighter you go with the boots and the skis, the harder it is to ski. The stiffer, the easier it is to ski, but less comfortable for the Alpine Touring side of it. In terms of bindings, there's 2 main types of bindings. There's what they call frame bindings and then pin bindings. Frame bindings are a lot heavier. So this is a marker Baron and it just releases like that. So allows you to lift up the heel for going up the hill. And then when you get to the top, you just lock it down and then off you go down the hill with it locked. But this is very, very heavy because you're lifting the entire binding every time you step up. And so like I said, this is more my lift served off-piste ski. For doing pure backcountry, I'll go with a pin binding. So as you can see, there's a lot less material that you're lifting. The toe piece of the boot just clips into here, lock down the heel for the downhill, and then release it for the uphill. But all you're doing is lifting up the boot. There's actually no material here as part of the binding. This is a G3 Ion, which is a pretty good binding. The other thing you're going to need for backcountry skiing is your skins. They're called skins because they used to be made of seal skin many years ago. Now, however, they are synthetic, but effectively they work the same way. So they're almost hairy like seal skin. And when you go forward, it will allow you to glide up the hill, but then as you slip back, they'll actually bite on the snow, the little hairs, and stops you from sliding back. So the skins, when you get them, they will be oversized for the ski because skis aren't straight. You'll need to buy them to make sure that they will fit this main part underfoot here. If they don't fit at the tip here like this, that doesn't matter. It's the bit that's going to be on the snow that matters. And then all you do is put them on the ski and then use a cutting tool that normally comes with the skin to just cut them to size. And if you see, you just want a tiny little bit of edge showing so that when you're traversing, you've still got the edge to bite into the snow, but then you've still got this as maximum surface area of skin underneath the ski to stop you from slipping back. When you get the skins, you'll also get a thing called a skin saver, which you can put between the skins so they don't stick together. Generally though, in the mountains on a windy day, they get in the way. So you're better off actually just ripping these off and going skin to skin, putting them inside your jacket. They just fold up nice and neatly like this. And then when you take them off, put them inside your jacket, keep them nice and nice and warm. And then when you get to the bottom and you need to start skinning up again, take them out, whip them out and stick them back on the ski, ready to go. Another thing that's really important for Alpine Touring, especially here in Australia and this season especially, is the ski crampon, or called the Harscheisen. It's really important that you actually buy the crampon that matches your binding. So not all crampons will match all bindings. So generally a G3 Ion crampon will fit the G3 Ion binding, but if you were to bring a Dynafit binding, a Dynafit crampon, it probably won't fit the G3 binding. So make sure you get the right ones. But very, very simple to fit. They just go either side of the ski like that, snap into place, and then as you're walking along, they sort of get dragged through the snow, but then when you step down, they then bite down into firm or icy snow when the skins start to fail. So really, really important here in Australia because we get some pretty icy days. And then these ones are designed so you can actually, you don't have to take the ski off, you can just reach down, pull them off, and they'll come straight off the binding for you to carry on. So really, really important that these are used and carried in Australia. Just looking at boots. So the boots is probably one of the most important things you want to focus on, and if you're just starting out, it's important that you get comfortable boots that are going to fit. And I'd recommend, if you're only going to buy one thing to start off, is get well-fitted boots that are comfortable. The main differences between an Alpine Touring boot and a downhill boot is this walk mode on the back. So effectively that allows you to go into a walk mode, which allows the boot to flex for when you're going on the uphill, and then when you're ready to ski down, you lock it down, and then the boot's rigid for the downhill. They pretty much all nowadays come with tech insert binding fixtures here and at the tip, but you can also get boots that will fit both tech bindings and frame bindings. It's important again to choose the boot that you want to do what you want it to do. So some of the Dynafit bindings, they actually got rid of this toe welt here so that they'll only fit a tech binding. They won't fit into a frame binding, but that also means it's hard to find crampons. You can only use a strap-on crampon rather than a pneumatic crampon. And so you just need to factor that in as well. The boots generally are softer than a downhill boot, and that's quite often where people struggle when they first start out, that when they've walked all the way up the mountain, just about to set off, and they go to throw their first turn, and it's not as reactive as they're used to in resort because the boots generally are more flexible. You can get anywhere from a 90 flex to 130 flex in a in an Alpine Touring boot. 90, very, very soft, very, very easy to walk in, great if you want to ski in and do some ice climbing, really, really comfortable. Up to 130, which is a little bit more rigid. You wouldn't really want to be doing long tours in a 130. Ice climbing would be a little bit difficult in a 130 flex boot, but when you actually get to the top and you want to rip it up on the way down, 130 is the way to go. So again, it's a little bit of a compromise as to whether you want lots of different types of boots for different activities, or whether you're just going to buy one boot that around about maybe the 120 flex that could probably do everything that you want it to do. As well as the ski crampons, it's really important again that you have boot crampons, because there'll be times where the terrain will get so steep that you actually can't keep skinning, and even with your ski crampons on. So you'll need boot crampons that are compatible with your ski boots. Generally, these differ slightly from heavy mountaineering crampons, although you can use normal mountaineering crampons with these. But if you're just going to go ski touring, you want the lightest possible crampons that you can get. So something like this, where they've now got the string between the front and the rear. Keep them very, very lightweight, because they're going to spend most of the time in the pack. If you're again skiing in to access an ice climb, then you would need fully rigid ice climbing crampons to go with your ski boots. But if it's just purely to have for a safety reason, then you want to go as light as possible with something like these Petzl crampons. Made of aluminium, so not particularly rugged if you were start climbing rock ridges, but for just going up steep snow gullies or traversing icy patches, then they're absolutely perfect. Ski poles differ slightly to resort poles. Most resort poles are just one length and they're fixed, whereas with Alpine Touring poles, they're extendable to allow for different conditions. It's also useful, you can share them around for people with different heights as well. But the likes of this one will collapse down to this length, or you can get them that go really, really small. So again, if you're going to go climbing up snow gullies to access your ski descent, you can actually put that right inside your pack so it doesn't get caught up with ropes and things like that. A little top tip as well, even for the snowshoers, if you wrap some duct tape just around your pole, that gives you a little ready source of duct tape to do repairs in the field, and it's a really handy way of just carrying it, and you don't have a big ball of duct tape in your pack that's just going to get all stuck to other things and crumple. The other thing to note with these is the baskets. So often the resort poles, because you're skiing on firm pisted runs, you'll find that the basket at the bottom is only about this big. But if you're going to go and ski soft powder snow, then they're just going to sink in and you're going to start falling over. So you want something that's got a pretty reasonable basket. And as you can see, these ones are cut away so that when you're actually doing your touring like that, you're not hitting the basket on the snow. So something pretty hefty like that for the deep snow. In conjunction with the crampons, you'll also need an ice axe. And again, if you're just going ski touring, then the ice axe is going to spend the majority of its time on your pack. So you'll want the lightest possible axe that you can get. So this is a very simple one from Black Diamond, very lightweight. It's designed for ski mountaineering. It's just a straight axe to do a self-arrest, or if you're on a little bit of steep snow. It'll allow you just to have a little bit more purchase on the snow when you're wearing your crampons. If you're planning to go and do something where you know you're going to ascend a gully or something like that, then you might want something that has a bit more of a curve in it, just to protect your hand and allow you to get that sort of front pointing, daggering as you go up the snow gully. Again, if you were using your skis to access ice climbing, then you would take full technical tools with you for the job you're going to go and do, which is the ice climbing. But really important that you know how to use ice axe and crampons, even for ski touring, and that's something that we'll cover during Rock and Ice. The last item of safety kit is the helmet, and it's really important to wear a helmet skiing, whether you're in resort or outside the resort. It's just common sense, really. It's recommended not to wear a resort helmet when you're backcountry skiing because they're designed to keep your head warm when you're in resort. So they generally have big ear flaps and a bit more coverage around the back here to keep your neck warm as well. It just means on the uphill, when you're wearing your helmet, you're going to get a lot hotter. If that's all you've got, it doesn't mean you can't wear it. That's absolutely fine to wear. But if you're going to do a lot more of this, then you're better off getting a ski mountaineering helmet, which has a lot more cutaway areas, and it's got vents in the top here, which cools you down when you're on the ascent. A lot of climbing helmets now are starting to be dual certified for climbing and ski mountaineering as well. So Petzl do them, so do Black Diamond. This is a Sweet Protection who just make helmets for mountain biking, kayaking, skiing. It's all they do. So this is it's quite a comfortable one. And the final piece of gear I want to talk about is this little thing, which some of you may have seen before. You may use them to attach kayaks to roof bars and things like that, but they're really, really handy in the backcountry. So they're called a volley strap. You can get them from Mont, you can get them online. You get them in different lengths, but they're really, really useful to have in your ski repair kit. If you have a problem with your binding, you can actually put these around the boot and the ski to hold the boot on, just to sort of make it work your way back to the trailhead. They're useful for keeping your skis together if you've got them on your pack, either in an A-frame or diagonally. And what they can also be really useful for is if you just have a normal backpack that doesn't have ski carry on it, you can actually use these through the ice axe loop at the bottom to allow you to do a diagonal carry on your pack. So really, really useful, great for fixing things, good for attaching kayak paddles to roof racks. I think they're only about 20 bucks or something, so really, really useful to have. I'm not going to talk about the transceivers and shovels and probes. That's a much more detailed sort of lesson. And in Australia, as long as you're reading the weather conditions and the snow conditions correctly, then the chances of you actually needing a transceiver, shovel and probe here in Australia is pretty limited. When you start going further afield with much more unstable snowpack, if you go to Europe, Canada, America, even New Zealand, being on glaciers as well, then it is essential. And I will be going through how to use a transceiver, shovel and probe with the AT ski group during Rock and Ice. But that's just a really quick intro to the sort of essentials that you would need for Alpine touring. And I will take any questions during the activity or via email if anyone has questions about kit and equipment. Thanks very much, and looking forward to getting out with you in August. Thanks.